This is Andi Purewal for Boxing News. I'm joined by former IBF World Champion Darren Barker here in Manchester. Darren, always good to see you. How's life treating you?
Very well, thank you, mate. Got my little boy with me, actually my big boy with me, Charlie. So, yeah, look, I've just give you a shout out. Look, come say hello. Yeah, look. Yeah, here he is. Here's the big boy. Here's the,
Hello.
I was about to say future middleweight champion of the world, but he don't like boxing, so that ain't going to be the case. I'm well.
I'm glad to hear it. That's an interesting note you make there, Darren. Obviously, as a father of young children, is it something you're open to, seeing your kids go into the sport because you know how difficult and how challenging it can be, but you know how dangerous it can be as well?
Yeah, I'm probably not as kind of harsh as Tony Bellew is. Like, Tony's like, nah, my kids are never going to fight. Whereas if they wanted to, I would help them as much as I could, but yeah, it's not something I'll push them into. You can't push children into boxing, I don't think, because of the nature of the sport. It's so hard. But if they wanted to do it, of course, I'd help them as much as I could.
Darren, you never know, they could be here in Manchester fighting one day, the same way that Jordan Gill and Barrett are on Saturday night. Your thoughts on this fight, an intriguing crossroads fight?
Yeah, it really is. It really is intriguing, probably the right word, you know. You would have said before the Conor fight, how much does Gill have left? You know, terrible defeat to Kiko Martinez, but down at featherweight. It looks a different beast at super featherweight now. Barrett, it was a tough tick-over fight, wasn't it, against Costa Zion? Never easy against him. He's definitely got one eye on bigger things. He wants that world title shot again. Wants to get it right this time. There is potentially, you never know, a big fight with Joe Cordina. I think that's who they'd have their eyes on. Obviously, he's got other business to take care of in Saudi soon. But I think here, for the winner, the potential pot of gold's really big. And that's why a win here is so important. It's really, really important. Don't get me wrong, I know we've heard, I've said it, Eddie said it, loads have said it, it's about leaving it all in the ring and you'll get opportunities. Again, that is true and that is the case. But I think here, a loss would really derail the careers of either fighter who, like I said, are close potentially to fighting for a world title.
Darren, just with Jordan, obviously, we saw that terrific performance against Michael Conlan, but still people questioning, was it a one-off fight because we don't know how much kind of those past defeats of Michael Conlan had taken out of him, or is this kind of a resurgence of Jordan Gill? Well, we see him now really kick on. What side of the fence do you sit on more? Do you think this is kind of a next chapter, a new version of Jordan Gill, or do you think that he just caught Michael Conlan at the right time?
No, do you know, I'll lean to the side that there's plenty left, and the reason I say that is because he looked so much stronger physically at super featherweight. The punch resistance was better, the power looked better, the physical strength looked better, still carried the weight, the speed up, stepping up in weight. He looked good, and I think mentally he can take a lot of confidence from that, so that elevates you to another level. It's about ticking every single box in this sport if you want to fulfill your dream and become a world champion, and he's done that in that last fight. But this is a tough fight. I mean, I'd have to favour Barrett. I think with form's probably the wrong word, but perhaps freshness. Yeah, he's had that fight with Rakhimov, which I think in defeat you can take a lot from it, but both good guys, and look, may the best man win. It's a fight I'm really looking forward to sitting down and commentating on.
Just a couple of fights, touch on card fight, touch on other subjects. Ellie Scotney, what are you expecting from her fight?
Yeah, it's a really good fight for Ellie. Unification fight against, I must say, a fighter that I've not been able to see too much of, if I'm honest. The little clips that I have seen, tall, rangy, can mix it inside and outside, has this little bit of fire in her eyes that means that when things get tough, she doesn't mind getting stuck in. But I'm a massive fan of Ellie, in and out the ring. She's a brilliant individual. She's a brilliant fighter. Talking about fire, I love the fire that she shows in a fight. Sometimes could be a slight downfall, a slight negative at times because she does want to get stuck in and she doesn't always need to because she's a brilliant boxer. But I love that. As a fan watching her, when a fighter wants to get stuck in, it just makes for good entertainment. So, yeah, I'm expecting a Scotney win there, talking about confidence that fighters can gain from wins. I think she winning a world title, being a world champion, has elevated her confidence and her level to something she probably didn't know that she had. So yeah, I favour Ellie in that fight, but another intriguing fight because we don't know a great deal about her opponent.
Darren, move forwards, or shall I move backwards, shall I say, to yesterday. An interesting trip up to Morecambe. What did you take away from the Tyson Fury press conference? What are your thoughts as to what he said going into May 18th?
A confident fighter, you know. It was, I got the impression that press conference was just about letting people know, look, I'm in this fight. I fancy this fight. I'm going to win this fight. Don't forget about me. Don't sleep on me just because I had that bad performance against Ngannou. I'm fully focused on Alexander Usyk on May 18th. And yeah, I think it was a lot. There was a lot of cheerleading, may I say, around Tyson and that. But you're selling a fight. I get it. I understand that's what you got to do. And it got the juices flowing for me. I thought, yeah, here we go. This is going to happen. He looked well. I was trying to look at the scar tissue around the cut whilst we was doing the interview with him. It looked fine. He looked good. So I'm buzzing for it. Look, I think there's going to be a lot of press now knocking on from that, and it just builds that tension, I guess, excitement for that fight because it's huge. This is history. This is the first heavyweight undisputed champion since Lennox Lewis, the first to hold all 4 belts. Tyson Fury alluded that there's more than 4. There's about 8 on there. I think it was the lineal, the ring, the IBO, and the Riyadh season strap as well. So yeah, it's a massive fight, and obviously though they won't be looking at the winner, I know there's a rematch clause in it, but there's this mega fight with potentially if Fury was to beat Usyk against AJ. Can you imagine?
We'll come on to AJ shortly, but just one more with that. Team Fury are adamant it ends by stoppage, it ends with a Tyson Fury KO. Do you echo those calls? Do you believe that yourself?
I don't know. Like, look, I'm leaning towards Fury because I was always told as a kid, boxing, a good big one will always beat a good little one, and I think that's why. Not so much now, but always in the past, you would see fighters ball down, lose loads and loads of weight so they could be huge for their division, so therefore have an advantage, which we found out now isn't always the case. You're depleted, blah, 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 blah. But that is the saying, a good big one will always beat a good little one. But we just don't... We on May 18th, could witness absolute... Well, we're going to witness history, but we could be witnessing one of the greatest to ever step in the ring. If Usyk beats Fury, you know, that it would be incredible. You're talking about one of the greats of all time. Yeah, I was about to say, if not the great, like, you'd have to put him right up there. It would be remarkable. So yeah, it's I'll probably lean towards Fury because of the size, but nothing would surprise me in this one.
I said to you earlier on.
I think out loud a little bit. I zone out, so yeah, apologies.
It's all good, Darren. Everything you say is relevant, and as you said earlier on, I said to you, we come back to Anthony Joshua. What did you make of Joseph Parker's call out, and how interesting of a fight could that be, a rematch all those years on from their first battle?
Well, first off, I love that he's doing these videos again. I was a massive fan of him during lockdown and that. They're great. What a great man, what a great personality Joseph Parker is. And would I see that fight? Would I watch that fight? Of course I would. The momentum, the form that Parker is on is arguably the best out there. It's incredible. The names he's beat, the confidence that he's showing, the performance that he's putting in. 32 years old. Can you believe that? Seems like he's been around forever. I mean, he has been around forever. But he's in his prime. He's at his peak. And with AJ looking very good, looking like he's back to some real form. Yeah, I'd watch that fight. Heavyweight division, though we're getting to the end of a lot of their careers, is looking very good at the minute. Some really good fights still to be made out there.
My next question, when you look at the landscape of heavyweight division, it's kind of unfolding very quickly now, with everybody stepping up, facing each other. But in, say, 3 or 4 years' time, the landscape will be very different, because you'd imagine some of these fighters coming towards the end of their careers now. Who do you see as kind of the next one to take over the throne of the heavyweight division?
Moses Atalma. I'm a massive fan of him. I think he's incredible. I really do. He wins a world title for me. I've no doubt about it.
Just one final one, I'll get your thoughts on. Darren Barker, Ennis, the man many see as the star of the welterweight division. Now Terence and Errol have moved up. How key and how significant of a signing is that for Matchroom? How excited are you to potentially be able to commentate on his fights now?
Massive, huge. You talk about one of the best out there. He's incredible. Pure, raw, natural talent. He is a special fighter, a future Hall of Famer in my opinion. Got the world at his feet. I hope I do get to commentate on him one day. It's been a privilege to watch him, and I can't wait to see how it unfolds. Hopefully we can see him on these shores, see him over here, see him on the road. What signing? One
final one with it all. There's obviously that one name in the Matchroom ranks at welterweight, a man you know well, Conor Benn. If it was to ever happen, it's a hard fight. I'm sure everyone can agree with that. You have allegiances with Tony, with Conor, with the Matchroom gym. How would you think Conor could ever fare against Darren Barker?
I mean, it don't get much tougher, does it? I mean, you're talking about, like I say, a future Hall of Famer. I believe that's what Ennis is. It's a tough one, but let me tell you now, Conor will fight anyone. He will fight anyone. He'll go in there and he'll give it his all.
Darren, I know you've got work to do, so I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Cheers, mate.